Welcome to Ask Me Anything, featuring spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.
Hi, everybody. I am spiritual medium Kellee White. I'm a psychotherapist and an author. And welcome to Ask Me Anything for July 11th, 2020. Whoops, no. So sorry. I'm already ahead of the game. July 10th, 2025. I'm not trying to take us back to 2020. Well, actually, although that was a rough time, these energies are, I've got to come up with other words to describe intense. So like fierce or savage. These are the kind of energies that we have coming up. But let me say hi to a few people, and I've got a lot to say tonight. Okay. Hi, Melissa. So you had a near-death experience, of which we're going to talk about near-death experiences and really why do they even occur. So I really want to touch upon that aspect of this. And you had one when you had a blood infection, but God helped you and said it's not your time. And that is what happens in a near-death experience, you know. And the reason that would happen is it's really often, it's to show everybody really that there is life on the other side. And that this life we have here is just temporary and it's illusionary, actually. But on the other side is our real home. So there's a reason why near-death experiences happen. Hi, Dee Dee. She says, tell me there's good energy coming because your birthday is Saturday and you're celebrating your daughter's graduation. How great is that? Listen, you'll make the energy great. You'll just make it a great day because that's a very special. Birthdays and graduations, come on. Those are events in life that we mark. So it'll be a great day, Dee Dee. Okay, hi, Ophelia. You had a near-death experience 28 years ago. She says, I was in a total place of peace with no pain, no worries, just pure love. Bingo. That's it. Exactly, Ophelia. That is it. So you got a taste of that real pure love. There's nothing like that. I'm glad because we're going to be addressing that. Hi, Sherry Craft. So you drowned when you were small and you have a very clear memory of looking up the bottom of the pool. Yeah, and that would probably be a near-death experience, right? Vera Tugwell. Hi, Vera from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Is it true that more than one angel will help people to the spirit world during bombings and natural disasters when more than one person dies? Yes, that's true. There'll be lots and lots and lots of angels when there are big events, calamities. You bet. And I am going to address that as I'm going to address near-death experience. And I'm also going to talk through all of that experience about Camp Mystic. So I'm going to kind of put the whole thing together here. Hi, Angela. Hi, Stacy. Love to all in Texas. Stacy, I have a lot to say about that. I feel the same way. Hi, Jean. I love hearing about near-death experiences. I had one many moons ago, and it's the reason I know I have a purpose in life, and I have no fear of death. It releases us. Absolutely, Jean, and that's one of the ways I want to describe it, and so thank you for putting that so well tonight. That's exactly why people have them, because it does release you from fear and fear of death and really understanding that there really is just love. And when we come to Earth, we're here to experience duality, but we can't forget that we're a soul having a human experience, but we're a soul. And so it's a whole area there that I'm going to talk about. Hi, Benjamin. Kellee, I've been thinking a lot about this topic. Oh, good. A lot of people are these days thinking a lot about near-death experience. So we will be talking about it. Hi, Miss Jules. Hi, Rick East. How are you? And how's Carolyn? How's your daughters? Hi, Lori Young. Lori, I have a funny angel story to tell you, so I'm going to send that to you in an email. Hi, Laura Crum, how are you? The calm before the storm. It does seem very surreal. Yes, these energies are surreal. Hi, Amy and Gayla. Oh, thank you, Gayla. It was great to see you too recently. Hi, Leslie. Hi, Wanda. Hi, Marge. Hi, Carolyn. Kellee, Rick, and I are looking forward to your show, praying that all is well with your daughter and family in Texas. Well, they are. And I think, it's a good place to jump in with that. And I will tell you that, oh boy, that whole camp thing is, oh my God, I could barely. Sorry. It's really was overwhelming because many of you have seen my grandson, August, when I brought him on the show. He's 8, and he was leaving for camp on Sunday. He's at camp now. He's been there. His camp in Texas is 3 hours away from Camp Mystic. But my daughter's best friend, Alex, attended Camp Mystic for years and was very close to the director who passed away, more than likely saving his girls. So it was very close to our home. It's such a tragic event. Such a tragic event. Can barely talk about it. But I wanted to talk about it through the lens of near-death experience and through the lens of what I saw. And I am going to talk about the astrology. So I'm going to start a little bit with the astrology because do you remember what I was talking about last week with Neptune? And Neptune was stationing on the 3rd and the 4th, which meant that it was going to be very, very intense. That with water, with floods, with tsunamis, any kind of water action, it was going to be intense. And it's not stationed anymore, but we are still going to have events with floods and tsunamis and weather, crazy weather, because of this Neptune retrograde. And it's in Pisces, and Pisces is a water sign too. So it's a very intense time. And so when this happened, I thought, oh my gosh, here we go with this Neptune stationing. And then it made me start to think about near-death experiences. Because when I was 3, I had a near-death experience. And I talk about it in my book. I had a near-death experience where I was in a coma. I had encephalitis, which is inflammation of the brain. And when I was in a coma, and the next thing you know, I was out of my body. And I was on the other side and actually trying to break through because I did not want to be in my body anymore. I really wanted to just be on the other side where I could feel the energy. And even though I was 3 years old, I remember it like it was yesterday. They told me, I'm sorry. I was greeted by aunts, women that were, I would just call them aunts, like great aunts or something. And they said to me, you have to go back because your mother won't be able to fulfill her destiny. And I knew that I had to go back. It was very, very sad. That was a near-death experience and the experience of one. So I always knew that the other side existed. Always, always, always. You don't forget a near-death experience, ever. I don't care how old you are. But also, after my head injury, after my traumatic brain injury, it was like a near-death experience, but I kept experiencing the other side. And I would get to see many, many experiences that maybe other people haven't had, but I got to have these experiences. And I'm sure I had them so I could explain disasters and natural events and things like that. And one of the times that I was on the other side, after my head injury, I was brought in. First of all, the energy on the other side is nothing but pure love. And so when somebody has a near-death experience, it's going to be, they will feel nothing but pure love. It's the kind of love that we cannot imagine here on earth because just can't imagine it. But when you're on that side and you feel it and you come back into your body on earth, I mean, that could be very disappointing, frankly, but you have the experience. So you know in your heart and soul what you saw, you know what you experienced. So there's no more fear after that. And then telling other people, whether they want to believe it or not, often it will happen to people that are non-believers. And they will be like, all of a sudden, the doubting Toms come out and they're like, oh my God, this is what happened. Do you believe me? Because it will give us on earth a remembering and an awakening. And the whole point of being on earth is to wake up. And so what I saw in many, many times that I have spent on the other side after my head injury I saw meetings like in school, like auditoriums. And I would see these meetings and they would want me to watch as a witness to what was happening. And one of the things that I saw, I would hear up the stage, somebody on the stage, and they would be talking about, all right, at this period of time, for the new students that are going to be headed to Earth, and you have to remember, Earth is a school of lots of different experiences here. But what they would say is, they would say, does anybody want to volunteer? Now, I'm going to explain it this way. We have free will on Earth. We have free will. That means that when we have free will, we make a choice. So we make a choice. Certain choices will go, we can go to the right with a choice, we could go to the left with a choice. But any direction we go with a choice, there will be consequences of said choice, whatever the said choice is. Okay. Now, let's say we decide to go to the right. We will need volunteers on the other side, that if the consequences from this choice create a situation where there could be a calamity, or vice versa, if a consequence from this side, whatever it happens to be, I think you understand my point, that we need volunteers. And why would souls volunteer in a calamity, or in a disaster, or in a terrorist attack, or any of these things? Why would a soul volunteer? Well, some reason. Some of it is karma. Some of them it is not. Some of them, they happen to be what I would call in the angelic realm. And the angelic realm will say, we'll do this, I'll do this. And why would they do that? And now I'm speaking about the flood, and I'm speaking about Texas. Why would they do that? They would do it because they want to advance humanity, because ultimately it's to bring people together. Ultimately, same with school shootings, ultimately to bring people together for love, for kindness, for compassion. And so these angelic beings will volunteer. I happened to see it during a near-death experience, and I got to experience souls raising their hand to volunteer. And I remember as I'm watching the volunteers thinking, holy mother of God, like, put your hand down. That's a lot. And because I was looking at it from a human angle, even though I was on the other side witnessing all of this. But the souls know what they're taking on. And again, everything stems from free will choices, and then what happens out after that. And then there are volunteers that will volunteer for certain events to move humanity on. And that's the larger lens here, which you have to remember. Now, do people learn? They learn kind of slowly, if you ask me. And I think I said this last week. There was a woman, a spiritual teacher, who said, we come here for thousands of lifetimes. And I'm thinking, there's no way thousands of lifetimes. And she said, yes. And she said, because if you think about it, it takes a long time to make a change. So on Earth is a school that has a lot of calamities and a lot of opportunities, so we can come together in humanity for love and kindness and compassion, and to take care of others. And ultimately, that's why we come to Earth. So that is a long way around to explain some of the calamities and some of the events that will happen on Earth that we have seen, and that the souls that volunteer for these are highly advanced souls. Most of them, I would say, from the angelic realm. 8-year-olds, angelic realm. I have to say that. And I got chills as I'm saying that. And yes, when this happens, their loved ones, the huge angel community, the guides, they're all there. They're all there, literally lifting them and taking them that fast. And it's so hard for the families, and it's such a hard concept, but it's all about bringing humanity together for love, because the highest thing we can do on Earth is to have love. So it's the most important thing, and it's why we come here. Ultimately, it's why we come to Earth. As hard of a school as this is, and this is a hard school. So a near-death experience shows us, to bring it back to near-death experience, it shows us a glimpse of the other side. And when we get that glimpse, almost entirely everybody that has one will say they felt this love, this light, this energy of love. That's what happens on the other side. The moment we leave our body and we are, some of us go into a tunnel, some of us are just right there. It all depends. But that moment, it's all love. There's no animosity. There's no hate. There's none of that. That's on earth. And that's why when we come back in soul groups, you screwed me over. Well, you screwed me over. Well, I don't know if I want to be with you. It's a different energy on that side. It's just a different energy. But when we're here, we make we make choices. And the sooner we can have a more advanced awakening, a consciousness, the sooner we advance, and all of humanity advances. So it's really, really important that if you know somebody who's had a near-death experience, you really listen to their story. That's what they will say. They will have had a glimpse of the other side. And so that's why near-death experiences are given us, because it's the experience of knowing that other side exists. So when a tragedy happens, we will have an understanding that the soul goes on and how loved we are. So it's very important, because it brings a near-death experience, changes your consciousness. Even if you hear about it, if you're online and you hear about somebody who's had a near-death experience, you're like, whoa, I want to hear all about it. Well, I saw this or I saw that. But often there's some common elements with a near-death experience. You're out of the body, so there's a sense of peace. Sometimes there's a sense of a bright light, and sometimes there's a sense of a tunnel. Not always. Sometimes there is. Sometimes individuals, and I've heard this from several, they will report that they had a bit of a life review. And, that's kind of like, the Dickens novel, it's, you better be good, and that's kind of what happens, really. It's like your soul is getting an opportunity. Look, you better change your ways. That can happen. Also, you may see a loved one. I know many, many people who have had near-death experiences who all of a sudden were with their father who had passed years before, or an uncle or a grandmother, or they'll see their spirit guide, or they may even see Jesus. It all depends. They may see, it may surprise everybody, might have a different experience with this, but across all cultures, the experiences are the same, whether they have any, whatever religion they are, whether they are agnostic or whether they're atheists. It doesn't matter. And by the way, they don't care on the other side. They don't care at all. It has nothing to do with, religion or any of that. They could care less. That has nothing to do with any of it. But often what happens in a near-death experience too is you might hover above your body, and you might be seeing them work on your body. And at that point, what happens is it feels like a magnet, like you get kind of pulled through. So either through a tunnel or a light or just this magnet pull. And when you realize you're on the other side, the energy is peace, love. You can breathe again. It feels like that, like, I'm alive. Oh my God. In fact, you will never feel so alive in the case like this. And I can tell you this, when you have to come back because it's not your time and you learned whatever it was you were supposed to get on the other side, you're going to be mad as hell. You're going to be like, but I didn't want to come back, because it feels, the sense of peace and well-being, it's overwhelming. And so many people, after having an experience like that, come back to this like loving, they're kind, and I hope that they can sustain that. Often they can, often people can sustain it, especially old curmudgeons, the kind, they can. So, and again, they might encounter some beings, that have been long gone, which is kind of neat. And also the experience involves being like outside of the normal time and space, because that's what happens in a near-death experience. You literally merge with a higher consciousness. It's the highest consciousness. And so what happens after that, and you come back into the body here, and of course you have to deal with whatever knocked you out of the body. It might have had a heart attack. You might have to really work on that. There's so many different ways that you get knocked out of the body, I suppose. But you also, some people talk about it and some people like really shut down. I knew somebody that was in a coma during COVID. He was in a COVID coma for 8 weeks. And it was like a record at the time. And afterwards I was like, did you have any experience you want to share? No, really nothing. Well, you're going to think I'm crazy. I no, not me. I will not. No, I will not. Maybe your wife will, but I will not. So just tell me. And he said, well, I saw Jesus and it changed his life. And this is what happens. And of course he was saved during that thing. And so what happens, when the soul, with the soul, when you die, the soul goes to the other side. And it goes pretty quickly like this. And so in a near-death experience, it's that sudden death, near death, you're out of the body, and then it's just not your time. So you get to come back, you do come back in. And so then what happens is you can also start to recognize signs easier from the other side, signs from spirit, because you would have had such a giant droplet of God. I loved Mavis Patella, my mentor, and I just loved her. And she wrote a great book, and she always talked about droplets of God. And a near-death experience is what I would call an enormous droplet of God, meaning you really had the experience. And so that's what goes on in a near-death experience. You may find yourself in all kinds of places in heaven. You may go for walks in heaven. You may, and I'm going to call it heaven. I'm going to call it the other side. I like the idea of calling it heaven. And you can be in a beautiful setting of different things, with visiting your loved ones. And then what happens is you realize it's time to get back in the body, because there'll be somebody that says to you, I'm sorry, you can't stay. And that is a kind of a shock to the system. But I'd like to stay. Well, you can't. And then there are the ones that have near-death experiences that really do need to get back because they have children or somebody waiting for them, and they really do need to get back. And as painful as it is, but it's always to show everybody what goes on the other side. And in my case, I saw these meetings, these groups of souls preparing for disasters and big events. And it was a volunteer, they were all volunteers. Now, again, some of it will have to do with karma. Not all of it, but some of it will. Not all the time. Sometimes it is truly a sacrifice to move humanity on. So I kind of want you to think in those terms. What would you sacrifice to move humanity on? Think like that. And that's really, really, really important. And so I am going to answer a lot of questions, and I do want to talk a little bit about Vedic astrology, because there's just so much going on here. Normally I start with that and then go into the topic, but I have to tell you that the whole Texas Camp Mystic really got to me, really hit me hard. In fact, I even said to my daughter, are you sure we should send August? Yes. It's just made me just a wreck all week. But we talked it over and we decided, no, I didn't, she did. She's the mom. But I would have said no, come to the farm instead. So anyway, and also I've got a lot of things to share with you too. So I have a lot of things to share, but I did want to get to that first. Just so everybody knows, our Monday night show that I do with James, Life After Death and Beyond, we are going to be on a hiatus right now. So we're taking a break. We're taking a bit of a hiatus because it's just, we do just a time to rest and recharge and dream up some new ideas for the fall. So I think you'll be excited when we come back with some we're brainstorming some new topics and some special guests and all kinds of things, a lot of surprises. So anyway, you can always catch up on anything that you've missed if you just go to either my Kellee White, Spiritual Medium Kellee White YouTube, or James Van Prague's YouTube. You can find them. And we appreciate all of you guys watching all of our shows. So thank you so much. And James is in Maui right now, and I heard from him this morning, and he's having a great time. Apparently, a lot of our friends that were in Alaska are there, so he was so excited about that. And I just want to mention some upcoming events that I have too, because we've been working really hard behind the scenes. And starting on August 14th, I have something very special, which I'm going to tell you a little bit about tonight. But I have a subscription that I will be sharing a lot about once it's done, but it's going to have a lot of wonderful things on it. So we're really excited about that. And in October, I'm headed to Chicago with Jen Weigel, and I think it's that Sunday. I think it's October 5th or 6th. I can't remember exactly, but I'll be there doing a live Ask Me Anything and readings and all kinds of things. And then I have some really cool upcoming classes everything will be on my website. One of them that I'm so excited about is I'm going to be working with Shauna McDonald from the Crystal Shrine. And we're going to be doing a class on unusual crystals. And like I always, we always, when we do crystal classes, we tend to cover the same crystals. Not this time. We're going to do unusual crystals, which I'm really excited about. And then in November, Dr. Shirley and Pellizzeri and Carrie Gonia and me, the three of us, are going to be doing, I've got that too, but Shirley and Carrie and I are going to be doing a Roots of Healing online. So it'll be, I think it's November 15th, and we're going to be talking about that. And then I will be, Renee, go ahead and put that up because this is very exciting, at the All Souls Retreat from November 7th to 9th in beautiful Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. So you guys should come on down there. It's going to be amazing. They have lots of guest speakers. I'll be one guest speaker. Julianne Siegel, who does feng shui, will be one of the speakers. She's wonderful. So that's going to be so exciting. And Julianne and I are going to teach a feng shui class in February of next year. Oh, and I have an angel class coming out with Janelle Campbell, who I just love. At the end of the year, we're going to make it an annual thing to do a class with the angels and archangels and channel the energy for 2026. So that's exciting. And then again, I have lots of new things. If you go to my website, I've got angel earrings, and I've got my wonderful mug, or my tumbler. I love this tumbler so much. So just go check out everything, and then we talk a little bit about astrology. Oh yeah, these are some of the products on my site, which I just love. Oh my God, those angel earrings. Fern, you knocked it out of the park. I love those so much. Keychains and earrings and necklaces. It's very, very cool. So I thought before I even answer any questions, I do want to talk a little bit about the Vedic astrology here, because this energy is very intense. It's fierce, severe, powerful, extreme. And tonight we have a full moon. And let's just talk about this full moon. So this full moon in Vedic astrology, it's in Sagittarius, and it's in the nakshatra, the celestial house of Purva Ashada. And it almost means crisis management. So it's a very intense full moon. It brings all kinds of emotions out. And the nakshatra, Purva Ashada, actually means declaration of war. And Sagittarius wants justice. So this is not a time to put your crystals out. But what it is a time to do is this full moon is aspecting Jupiter. So actually, if you take your app out and you go to look at the stars, you will see Jupiter aspecting the moon, which is pretty cool. And it's a really rare alignment. And so what happens when Jupiter is with the moon is it means higher teaching. And so maybe that's why tonight I really felt very moved and passionate about not just talking about near-death experience, but really bringing it full circle. Why a near-death experience is important, so you don't forget that you are a soul having a physical experience on Earth. You're having a human experience. But our souls are endless and timeless, and we exist on the other side. And so to have a near-death experience will give you the energy and remind you of our home on the other side. And that's important, particularly in time of crisis. I think that's where I was really moved. And so with this full moon tonight, this is dedicate some time for deep meditation or spiritual practice, because you'll really benefit from that, especially with this full moon. That's what it's good for. Really, maybe digging deep spiritually, and it's a perfect full moon for that. Okay. Now, also on July 13th, coming right up, because we have so many situations astrologically. And astrology, Vedic astrology, is simply a roadmap to look at what is coming up. You know, July 13th all the way through October 18th, Saturn will be retrograde, which in Pisces in Vedic astrology. Now, Saturn is the slowest moving planet, and it's because of this. When it stations, which you can start to feel it station now, it will have like maximum energy here. And so this kind of energy, Saturn, and it's also traveling with Neptune, because right now they are best buddies, and I don't think they like each other, but they have to travel together. And Saturn is karma, and it's discipline, and it forces us to go inward during this particular time. And you may feel like isolating, frankly. And if you do, if you can, do it. This is also can bring back events from the past, maybe unfinished business. You have to face somebody that you didn't want to. You have to deal with some choices, free will choices that you made. So all of these planets, when they go retrograde, are to help us with our consciousness, to change our awareness. Okay, so be good to yourself and be kind to yourself. It forces a maturity here. It forces karma. Saturn is karma. And when it retrogrades, it forces you to rethink your life. So think of it like that. It's like the real disciplined teacher. It's like, no, you're going to eat every friggin' pea on that plate. Like that. It's kind of like that. And you're like, but I don't want to. I'm like, yeah, I know. Sucks. That's karma. That's Saturn retrograde. And also, this will bring spiritual breakthroughs. It will do that, and it will bring through, for all my mental health professionals, mental health breakthroughs as well. Okay, so there are a lot of aspects that are good with this. It's just intense. It doesn't make anything intense. It doesn't make anything easy. On July 16th, the sun moves into Cancer. So if you were born between July 16th and August 17th, you actually, in Vedic astrology, where the planets actually are a Cancer. So Cancer is all about nurturing yourself. But we still have Mars and Ketu in a conjunction all the way till the end of July. So we're still in that intense energy that I've been talking about. And this is in Leo. Leo's a fire sign. Mars has to do with fire. Ketu is another octave of that. And it brings a real, Mars energy here, a strong, like, fighting energy. And it could bring terrorism because it's so intense. And what happens is on the 20th of July, it's an exact conjunction. So they're already pretty as close as you can get, except they get a little closer on July 20th. So could something happen before or after that? Yeah, of course. This energy is set for a very intense time. And if you are traveling during this time, it's not an easy time to travel. Shirley, my partner Shirley, was trying to make some travel plans, and I said, I don't know, Cheryl, if I would do that. It's just going to be a very tough time, because on July 18th, in the middle of, we've got Neptune retrograde, Saturn retrograde, and now Mercury, the most popular one, retrograde. It will be retrograde on July 18th. But you will already start to feel the effects. And Mercury retrograde, and it's in Cancer, so that could have a lot to do with maybe old family members come back. That could happen. But also it could cause a lot of miscommunications between friends and families, and a lot of confusion, particularly with travel and with emails and texts and all kinds of things. So really watch and monitor how you say it, double check or triple check everything. And if you do need to travel, because this is summer, for God's sakes, people travel during this time. I always say pack your patience, but really, put yourself in a good headspace. Maybe a lot of music. That's what I do when I fly. I listen to music all the time. That's what I do. So anyway, these are some of the things that are happening in July. And before I forget, and I am going to answer some questions now, this is one of my all-time favorite books now, Soul Design by Dr. Linda Backman. And Renee, can you put that link up? Because Linda just told me that she's teaching a class on soul design. It's like a 6-week class. So Renee's going to put it in the comments. And I would encourage you, if you have the time, to take her class. She's a great teacher. And this is honestly one of my favorite books, Soul Design by Dr. Linda Backman. And also, if you guys like dolphins and whales, there are a group that goes out with my dear friends Heidi and Lisa, and every year they take, maybe even twice a year, they do tours for people. They're real spiritual. These women are the best, and they are incredibly spiritual, and they go on spiritual tours with whales and dolphins. So if you can look that up, Renee will put that in the comments too, because it's very, very exciting. I love to see the work that they do. Yeah, Soul Adventures, it's called, with Heidi and Lisa. They're fantastic. Everybody that goes on their journeys loves them. They love them. Okay, so let me answer a couple of questions here. So Laura says, are all of our loved ones part of our soul group? Well, yeah, I'm going to say, yeah, they are. And do we just stay with our soul groups when we pass over? No. No, let me get you a card. And your birthday is April 1st, which is the 7 of Spades, which is very deep, somebody who's very deep. So I'm going to do the angel number cards because I love these cards. I'm telling you, I love these cards. So let's get you a card from the angel numbers there, Laura. But no, we have a soul group, and what happens on the other side is it's that magnet thing that I was talking about. You get you're out there doing all kinds of things in the universe and all over different universities. On the other side, you're doing all kinds of things, or maybe doing nothing, whatever it is you want to do. And then you'll feel this energy like a magnet pull you in. It's like, oh no, did you get the call too? Yes, I did. But I don't want to go. Well, it's time. It's kind of like that. But it'll be fun this time. No, I don't think so. I can only imagine what I say when I have to go over there, when I have to come back. Ooh, Laura, this is great. 88. It's a reward card. How fabulous is that? So check double 8s, because I think that's really important. And yes, Laura, you wonder when we cross over, do we recognize our loved ones by their past appearance? Often they will show us how we would recognize them. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And you'd recognize the energy anyway. One day I had a dream. I never met Don's brother. He died long before I entered the family. And I had a dream once that I was standing there. He was really tall. And I said, "Hi, Ralph, I'm Kellee." And he went to shake my hand, and instead he hugged me, and he was really tall. And he said, "I know who you are." It was the sweetest thing. So I know they keep an eye on us. Anyway, Patty Campbell, I could not wait to answer this question. And I got such a kick out of this question. She says, this is a question from a friend. Okay. Why do we only pay attention to the planets in our own solar system and talk about them affecting us? Do we consider the other billion planets in our galaxy or the other billions of galaxies out there? I wouldn't have time for that. As it is, when I do Vedic astrology, I cover like 10%. Can you imagine if I added another galaxy? But I do believe, I believe everything touches everything. I do. I believe that the energies in the other galaxies could absolutely affect us. And I think Earth's energy, which is so intense, the other galaxies are probably like, I don't think so. No. We want to move further away. We want to go further away. That's what I think. Hey, Kim Ann, she said, I was just wondering, I know 3 people who have given birth to babies 4 to 6 weeks early. All 3 babies and mamas are doing really well. And this has been in the last month and a half. Is there something going on that would cause babies to come prematurely? Yes. And here's what it is. Those souls are on a timeline. They know exactly what they need to experience, and they get in exactly when there's no mistake on that when they come in. They came in early. No mistake. That it's a planned, targeted event. Like, I need that day at that time, at that place, for my energy to be exactly where it needs to be, because these new souls that are coming in, they're extraordinary. These souls know so much. They're like the new model. Yeah, they're old souls that come in, but they have prepared. And so when somebody says, what do you do on the other side? I'll tell you what, you do a lot of preparation for different time periods to be in. So if you have a near-death experience, you may witness some souls preparing and planning for the event that they will have, that they need to learn about to be on Earth. So I call them different models because I was born in the 50s. We're different, as I was different than my grandmother who was born, in like 1892, such different models. But still, it's fun to think of it from a near-death experience that you would be able to witness some of this. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. So that's kind of a fun thing to think about, isn't it? And Margaret, you're going to be enjoying Cyndi Lauper outside with 15,000 people. Wow, I love Cyndi Lauper. How fun is that? Hi, Judy Freeman. Oh my gosh. Okay, Amber Lily. Kellee, what does it mean when you dream about yourself and feel like it's you, but it's physically not you? Is that a past life thing? Well, it's, if you dream about yourself, which I think all dreams are about yourself. I mean, it depends on what the dream is, I suppose. But if it feels like you, but it's physically not you, that's a good question. It's an aspect of you. It's an aspect of you, Amber. So what is it about that you'd want to change? What is it that you're moving towards? That's the way to view that question. I don't think it's a past life thing. I think it's, could it be? Yeah, I suppose it could be. But I typically think, what aspect of you is it? That's the way I more think. I mean, we can always go to past lives, but I don't know. I think the life we're in right now encompasses everything we need. I do. That's kind of my thought about it. I hope that helps. Ooh, hi, Elizabeth Preston. How are you, honey? I saw you had a big award with your horses. This is very exciting. Okay, Teresa Redeye. Hi, Kellee. I just got a blue apatite crystal tower. I was so drawn to it, and the color is beautiful. Could you let me know the best way to work with it? Teresa, I don't know. But what I would say, since I don't know about that crystal, but Shauna, if you're watching, we'll put that on our unusual crystal class. But what I would do is put it in a place that you can really allow the energy to come forward and just feel that energy and use the energy in the way that it comes to you. I think if you're really drawn to something like that, that's the best. I mean, right now, I can't tell you how much I am loving this pink amethyst. I just find it comforting, especially in these challenging times. So if you are drawn to that, then just keep it out and just feel that energy. I think it's amazing. Hi, Jen. Thank you for your teachings. You keep me grounded. Well, Jen, let's get you a card, honey. Ooh, 7-7, purpose. Here you go, Jen. Purpose. So for you, look at 7-7. Double 7 is deeply spiritual, So look at the purpose there. Look at your purpose, because I think that is so true. Yes, Amy, I am going to continue my Thursday night show. She says, I can't imagine my Thursdays without you. Oh, that is so sweet, Amy. That's like the sweetest thing. Thank you for saying that. Yes, I will be here every Thursday. I'm going nowhere on a Thursday. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. And let's get you a card here. Ooh. Okay, you have to understand this word. This is really hilarious, Amy. This is perfect. Okay, it's 1221. Symbiosis. Are you symbiotically attached? That's hilarious. I swear to God, they have the greatest sense of humor as the angels. I've been using the word symbiotic a lot lately too. So that's very, very funny. But no, honey, I'm not going anywhere. Okay, Teresa, my cards should be out. Well, I have an app that's coming out, which is really exciting. And on the daily app that I have coming out, I will have daily affirmations, and they'll include a lot of different information per each day. So that'll be coming out August 14th. But as far as my own cards come out, probably the next several months, I'm still working on them. It takes a lot of time, all that stuff, because there's so much information I'm trying to pack into these decks. I have this thing. I love my tumbler too, Marge. I am so in love with this. I love this tumbler. And I keep ice in it all day, and then I let it out on my sink at night. I wake up in the morning, I still have ice in it. I love it. And I'm assuming in the summer or in the winter, it'll be also very, very good for that. Oh, and Lori Young, also, let me tell you this. I have another class coming out integrating mediumship and psychology. So there's a lot that I think I'm going to be doing with James, because we have been talking about that. Okay. Denise Silva says, what would the meaning of finding a sewing needle in an unexpected place? Well, Denise, that may be like a needle in a haystack, or a sewing needle. It could be from a loved one, a grandmother maybe, wanting to help you with some work that you're doing. Could be that. Simply could be that, actually. Annie says, I'm looking up and I'm seeing the angels and strange beings in the clouds. You're going to see a lot of messages from angels, everybody. This is a period of time where angels are hovered around, because it's an intense time. It's a fierce kind of a time. So I've been looking at the clouds too, and it's I always see a lot of angels out there. So just keep doing that. I think it's so important. I'm going to be in Chicago, Leslie, on, I think it's October. It's that Sunday with Jen Weigel. I'll tell you, I should have it by heart, but I don't remember exactly. Yeah, I will tell you. It's October 5th, Sunday, October 5th. And we're just looking for our location right now. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be live. So that's going to be good. Let's see. Here we go with some more questions. What else can I answer here? Jen Tran says, a major change has just happened right before the show tonight, and it's all about change, being consistent, and my free will better make the right choices. That is it, Jen. That is really true. With free will, you do want to make good choices. When you are aware that anything you do, there's responsibility behind it. And all of that is why we come to Earth. Vera Tugwell says, if people have to come back when they have a near-death experience, does that mean our death is predetermined? Our death, here's the thing, Vera. We might have several exit points. And that near-death experience may be an exit point. And your guides may say, you know what? Let's give the old gal another chance. I don't think it's really her time. And that could happen. You may literally have been on the other side just to have the experience to know that it all exists. But everybody has a certain exit point. And so again, we have different exit points. So maybe the first one didn't take, or the first one, it wasn't really, you decided your soul opted against it. So you might have a second one. Some people, my dad had like several exit points. I couldn't believe it. And eventually he left. But anyway, Michelle Kavanaugh, can I mention my husband's website? Yes, it's Don, D-O-N, Marquise, M-A-R-K-E-S-E, Don, D-O-N, MARKESE.com. And Renee, if you could put that up, donmarquise.com. And he plays, he's an incredible musician, but he also plays the Native American flute. And one of his albums that he did, which is phenomenal, is called Spirit Flows. So it's great for meditation. It really puts you in a really deep space, a good space. So I think everybody would love that. Yeah, and if you are looking to be with whales and dolphins, just please look up Jen, or Lisa and Heidi on Soul Adventures. And I still have some spaces, I believe, in July. And I have an upcoming July 19th. It's already filled. I'm doing a Power of 10. but I will have one for August and I'll have one for September. I'm going to try to do that once a month, and I'll have that all set up soon. Linda says, my son's birthday is 7/19. There it is, donmarquise.com. My son's birthday is July 19th. Could he get a card, please? Yeah, so July 19th, which is right around the corner with Mercury retrograde for him. So a lot of things would come back. Nine of Clubs. Nine of Clubs has come. They're here for lots of education. Lots of education. But let's get him a card here. 303, forgive. So maybe he's got some forgiveness to do. So it's funny. Retrogrades bring people back into our life. And his birthday is going to be right at the retrograde. So maybe it could be a time for him to, forgive people. Jenny Murrow Crowley says, my birthday is Monday, July 14th. Our trip to Paris was suddenly canceled next week. Okay, you just confirmed what I was telling Shirley. I swear to God. So thank you I'm sorry that happened, but thank you for sharing this with us. I think I'm fine with it now. I'm going to Maine instead, but I'm returning home on 7/19. Fingers crossed. I'm so sorry, Jenny. I don't know what happened, why it was suddenly canceled, but that's the kind of energy. And if that was, maybe it's to protect you from something. You never really know with this kind of thing until later after it, So instead you're going to go, that's good. Okay. You're going to go to Maine instead, and fingers crossed, you're right. And, have a good attitude about it, hoping that the old work op returns. It's very big. So putting that out there. P.S. I'm the one who just lost my soul dog, Nola, but I never got a card pulled. Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, let's get you a card from Talking to Heaven. How's that? How's that, Jenny? I'm sorry. I must have been talking and I didn't get a card for you. So I am sorry about that. Let's get you a card here, honey. I'm sorry you lost your dog. Ooh, we have been together in dreams. There you go. So your dog has definitely been with you. Definitely with you. But I have noticed a lot of people checking out now. And a lot of animals too. It's interesting. Why now? I don't know. Hi, Crystal Cook from New Zealand. Hey, I just asked Dawn the other day because she spent a lot of time in Australia, and my little brother Theo is on tour in Australia now, in Sydney and all over Australia. And I said to Dawn, what's your favorite place in Australia? And he said, without missing a beat, he just said New Zealand. But he loves parts of Australia so much, but he loves New Zealand. So I'm so glad that you're here, Crystal. She says, I love all that you and your team do. I'm the 5th of March. And if you're doing cards, can I get one from my dad? Yes, you can. Here you go. Ooh, your dad says, it's a pretty card. I have no pain. I have no pain there. So just know that. Okay. Oh my gosh. And Lori Counts, if you're watching, I want to get you a card from your dad since I have these cards out too. If I had only known then what I would know now, I would have lived differently. That's an interesting card. I would have lived differently. Yeah, maybe he may have. He may have. He was such a good guy. Such a good guy. And Margaret, hey, Kelly, I don't want to go. When asked to go, I was like, my mom had to really just like beg me to go, like promise me the moon. And I'm like, I really don't think I want to do that again. Anyway, it's kind of funny. Okay. Diana. Oh, hi, Diana Piper. No question. I just want to say hello from Dallas, North Carolina. I miss you. It has been a while, Diana. Let's get you a card from here. From the angels, accountability, 69, accountability. There you go. Look up those numbers because you're such an interesting mystic. Oh my gosh. Barbara Miller, you need a message from a loved one? Well, you've come to the right place here. Here we go. You have nothing to feel guilty about. There you go, Barbara. You have nothing to feel guilty about. There you go. I hope that helps. Okay, Melanie KR, she says, it's been 1 year since my father died suddenly. My son and I lost our cat, our furry family member, on June 19th, I think. And our dog is almost 15, is now unable to walk, and is declining fast ever since she died. We have his humane anesthesia scheduled for July 15th. Are we doing the right thing? Will I survive all that? That's really the question. And I'm going to say your soul knows you're doing the right thing here. and you will survive all of this. It's a lot of loss, Melanie. It's a lot of loss, honey. I want you to bring in all of those angels because it's a lot. Wrap yourself literally in the love of the angels. Wrap yourself around that because that's a lot. As I said, this is kind of an energetic opening right now. And I just get that they're all going to be there together for you. Okay, let me get you a card, sweetheart. Okay, I'm sorry. That's funny. I just said I'm sorry. This card says I'm sorry. Please forgive me. So it must be sorry that you've had to, that you've lost all of it. But it was their time. It was their time. Trevor James, C-sections too, even in C-sections. Yes, even in C-sections. But there's no mistake there. It's like this is the time. This one needs to be here. So it's a different way of viewing things, totally. But these souls know what they're doing. Like they need to be here at a certain time for a certain energy to set them on their life path. So just kind of remember that. Yeah, Anne Margaret says Dolores Cannon always kept saying that all these souls are highly advanced, these soul babies. Yeah, they're highly advanced. The ones that are coming in now, get out of their way. I mean, they're unbelievable. Wow. Independent 87 says, hi, Kellee. When I close my eyes, I'm seeing white light and I'm seeing people and places. I've asked spirit and angels to guide me. This energy has been quite intense. And one of my friends, his mother just passed on. Yeah. So when you start to have a spiritual awakening, this often happens. You close your eyes and you start seeing white light and then people and places, and then you might start seeing figures and figures moving. And that's all an awakening. And you start to get comfortable with it. And then the next thing happens that opens you up a little more and a little more. So you're on the right path, honey. That's what happens. Okay. Yeah, that's what happens here. So Kim Ann says, I think the people born in the 40s and 50s are a different breed. Oh, totally different. Yeah, it's so true. Independent says, Tuesday in another one yesterday, I can feel that the veil is quite thin. Oh, losing people. Yeah. There is, I'm telling you, it's an energetic time for that. I can feel it in my sense. And it's kind of shocking. Some of the stories that I'm hearing now and people that I know, it's kind of shocking. It's just a lot of change. So take really good care of yourself. Maybe tonight with this full moon, you'll have some extraordinary dreams of the other side, maybe just visiting the other side so you can have just a taste of it without having a near-death experience, because that's kind of a dramatic way to do it. And you don't have to have it that way. You might have a near-death the energy of it or the visitation of the other side. Ask your guides, say, can we go tonight to the other side just to look at it and view it and so I can feel the energy of it? You can do that. Guides can't get into our free will space, but they can certainly take us to, new heights and new adventures. And if they think it's good for your soul to do it, they would do it. If it's good for your soul, for what your soul is needing, because they know what you're needing. That's the important piece of guides. So I hope that helps. And Monday, I think we're going to have a repeat of one of our shows. I think that Ryan is putting together, so you can watch that. And what else here? Christy Oucher. Hi, Christy. Life is in chaos right now, and I keep thinking about the astrology, disagreements and major changes. Wow. Can I have a card? Yes, you can. I'm going to get you a card from your daughter, Christy. You'll love this one. She says, I'm with the rest of the family. And then I just heard, go Disney. I love your daughter. So sweet. That is just the sweetest thing. Oh my gosh. Okay, Bonnie Bond, can I get a card? Yes, you can, honey. Here we go. Revisit. Okay, 66. Revisit. And I think for everybody, this will be a time with all these planets, going retrograde. We'll be revisiting a lot. So keep a dream journal. As a matter of fact, if you go to my website, I think you can download for free a dream journal that I have. I'm going to have a lot of neat things. You might want to look at that at kellywhite.com. Selena said, Kellee, I love your book, Cracked Open. Can you tell me why we have deja vu? It seems like I'm having it weekly this year. A deja vu is to remind us that we plan a lot of things before we come in. And I think we plan some deja vus to kind of jar us open, that we have a different awareness. That's why I think that happens. I'm all about awareness. and anything that our minds and souls could figure out to wake us up in consciousness. And a deja vu is one of them. So good question, and thank you. All right, everybody. I look forward to seeing you next Thursday. Be safe, be kind to one another, and I'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.
You've been listening to Ask Me Anything, featuring spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.